After we announced my pregnancy, my SIL's plan to humiliate me at my husband's party backfired, landing her in jail and a divorce. I, 32 male, am sitting here in the quiet of my living room, watching my 4-month-old daughter sleep in her bassinet, and I still can't believe how close I came to losing every single thing that matters to me. People always talk about toxic family members like they're just annoying people who make snide comments at Thanksgiving. But my sister, she is a different breed of predator. She's the kind of person who would set your house on fire just so she could be the one to hand you a glass of water and look like the hero. For 7 years, my marriage to my wife, 31 female, has been a battleground, not because of anything we did, but because my sister decided from day one that my wife was an intruder in her family. Let's be real for a second. I'm an average guy. I work in logistics, I like my lawn neat, and I've spent most of my life trying to avoid conflict. My sister, on the other hand, is 2 years older than me and has spent her entire life fueled by this bizarre sense of entitlement. She thinks she's the protagonist of a movie and the rest of us are just supporting actors. When I first brought my wife home, my sister didn't even say hello. She looked my wife up and down and said, "I thought you had better taste than this, but I guess you're just settling." That was the baseline for 7 years. Every milestone we had, she tried to poison. When we bought our first house, she told my parents it smelled like low-income desperation. When I got a major promotion, she spent the celebratory dinner talking about how my brother-in-law, 36 male, was making twice as much, even though the poor guy was clearly embarrassed and tried to shut her down. But the wedding was the breaking point for most people. She showed up in a literal funeral gown, black lace, floor length, even a small veil. She told everyone who would listen that she was mourning the loss of her brother's potential. I should have cut her off then. I know that now. But my parents are from that old-school family is everything mindset, and they begged me to keep the peace. So I did. I let the snake stay in the grass because I didn't want to upset my mother. Fast forward to last year. My wife and I had been through hell trying to start a family. We had 2 miscarriages that nearly broke us. When we finally got past the first trimester with our daughter, we were terrified but over the moon. We decided to host a big party at our place, a combination of my 32nd birthday and the official pregnancy announcement. I was adamant. My sister was not coming. I told my mom, I don't care if she's family. She is a dark cloud and my wife deserves to feel safe in her own home while she's carrying our child. But then the redemption arc started. My sister called me, crying. She sounded broken. She told me she had been diagnosed with a personality disorder and is in intensive therapy. She said she realized her jealousy of my wife was actually a projection of her own insecurities. She said, "I just want to be the aunt your daughter deserves. Please let me show you that I've changed." I'm a softie. I wanted my sister back. I wanted to believe that people can actually change. I relented. I told her she could come, but one wrong move and she was out for good. The day of the party, everything seemed fine. She arrived with her husband, my brother-in-law, who looked more relaxed than I'd seen him in years. He told me, "She's really trying, man. She's doing the work." My sister was on her best behavior. She was helping with the decorations, laughing, and even complimented my wife's outfit. We made the announcement, and it was beautiful. Everyone was cheering, and for a second, I felt like the weight of 7 years of drama had finally lifted. Then came dinner. We had hired a small catering team, but my sister insisted on helping them serve the main course. She told me she wanted to do something special for my wife to show there were no hard feelings. When it was time to eat, my sister walked out of the kitchen holding a plate that looked different from everyone else's. It was a seafood pasta dish, but it was garnished heavily with herbs and a thick, creamy sauce.
I made sure the chef did a special nutrition boost plate for the mom-to-be, my sister said with this bright, wide-eyed smile that, looking back, was absolutely terrifying. I told him you needed extra protein and some specific herbs that are great for the baby. I even crushed up some of those high-end prenatal vitamins you like and mixed them into the sauce so you wouldn't forget them. Now, you have to understand something crucial. My wife has a grade 4 anaphylactic allergy to all shellfish. It's not a "my stomach hurts" allergy. It's a "my throat closes and I die in 5 minutes" allergy. It is the first thing we tell anyone who handles our food. My sister knew this. She had seen my wife have a reaction at a restaurant 5 years ago when a server accidentally brought out a dish cooked in shrimp oil. My sister was the one who handed me the EpiPen that day. I looked at the plate. "Is that shrimp?" I asked. My sister laughed, and it sounded a little too high-pitched. "No, I'm not stupid. It's imitation whitefish. It's processed to look like scallops and shrimp, but it's 100% soy and whitefish. The chef promised. It's completely safe. Eat up. You're eating for 2 now." My wife was about to pick up her fork, but something in my gut screamed. I've lived with my sister's lies my whole life, and I know her tells. When she's lying, she touches her neck. She was clutching her necklace like it was a lifeline. "If it's imitation, why does it smell like real brine?" I asked, pulling the plate closer. "Oh, stop being so paranoid," my sister snapped, her voice losing that sweet veneer. "I went to so much trouble to make this special. You're ruining the moment. Just let her eat." At that moment, my brother-in-law walked over. He had been outside helping my dad with the grill and hadn't gotten a plate yet. He's a big guy, always hungry, and he saw the special plate sitting there while we were arguing. "If she's not going to eat that, I will," he said, half joking. "I'm starving, and that looks better than the buffet stuff." My sister's eyes went wide. "No, Jamie, don't. That's for her. It has those vitamins in it. It'll taste gross to you." "I don't care about vitamins," he laughed, sliding the plate towards himself. My sister actually reached out to grab it, but he was faster. He took a massive forkful, getting a scallop and a big chunk of what looked like shrimp, and plenty of that creamy sauce. He swallowed it before she could say another word. He frowned. "This isn't imitation, honey. This is high-grade bay scallops, and it tastes weird, like metallic. Did you put something else in this?" Within 60 seconds, the color drained from his face. He started coughing, a deep, wet sound. Then he clutched his chest. My sister was frozen. She wasn't moving towards him to help her. She was just staring at my wife with a look of pure, unadulterated hatred. "You were supposed to eat it," my sister whispered. "It was the most chilling thing I've ever heard. It was yours. Why is it always someone else taking what's meant for you?" Jamie collapsed. He didn't just have an anaphylactic reaction, he started seizing. He began vomiting, and there was blood in it. The party turned into a nightmare. My father and I jumped to help him, while my wife, God bless her, stayed calm and called 911. My sister just stood there in the middle of the dining room, watching her husband die on the floor, and she didn't shed a single tear. She just kept muttering about how the plan was ruined. The paramedics arrived in record time. They intubated Jamie right there on my dining room floor. While they were working on him, one of the medics looked at the plate. "Don't touch that," he told me. "The smell coming off this sauce, that's not food." Jamie was rushed to the hospital. I stayed behind for a few minutes while the police arrived because the paramedics had already flagged this as a potential poisoning. I pointed the officers toward the kitchen. Now here is where my sister's entitlement really backfired. She thinks she's a genius, but she's actually incredibly sloppy because she doesn't think rules apply to her. We have a Ring camera in the kitchen. We installed it because our dog likes to jump on the counters, and we use it to yell at him through the speaker when we aren't in the room. My sister didn't know it was there because it's tucked behind a decorative cookie jar. The police watched the footage right there in my kitchen. It was clear as day. My sister took a plate of the regular pasta. She pulled a small glass vial out of her waistband. She poured a clear, thick liquid into the sauce and stirred it in with a spoon she took from her pocket. Then she walked over to the trash can, threw the vial in, and covered it with a bunch of used napkins. The police found the vial. It was a concentrated industrial-strength drain cleaner, the kind that contains high levels of sulfuric acid and lye. It's odorless when mixed with heavy cream, but incredibly caustic. If my pregnant wife had taken a single bite, it would have caused immediate chemical burns to her esophagus and stomach. Given the concentration, it likely would have caused a miscarriage within hours due to the systemic shock and internal trauma, if it didn't kill her outright. When the police put the handcuffs on her, my sister didn't act scared. She acted offended. "Do you know who I am?" she screamed as they led her out past our neighbors. "My brother is framing me. He put that stuff in there to get my inheritance. Tell them, Mom. Tell them he's lying." My mother just sat on the porch steps and put her head in her hands. She wouldn't even look at her. The next few months were a blur of legal proceedings and hospital visits. Jamie was in the ICU for 3 weeks. He had to undergo multiple surgeries to repair the damage to his throat and stomach lining. He will have to eat through a restricted diet for the rest of his life, and his voice is permanently raspy. The moment he was conscious enough to understand what happened, he asked for a divorce lawyer. He didn't even want to see her. He gave the police permission to search their house, and that was the final nail in the coffin. In their spare bedroom, hidden inside a locked filing cabinet she thought he never touched, they found a journal. It wasn't a diary, it was a dossier. She had been tracking my wife's movements, our doctor's appointments, and even our grocery lists. She had written out different scenarios to get rid of the baby. One involved tripping my wife down the stairs. Another involved accidental food poisoning. She had written, "If the pregnancy ends, he will come back to the family. He will realize she is cursed, and I am the only one who truly loves him. The balance must be restored." The DA didn't hold back. In the state where we live, her actions met the criteria for several high-level felonies. She was charged with attempted murder, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and, because of the specific intent to harm a pregnant woman, they tacked on attempted feticide. During the trial, my sister tried everything. She fired 3 different lawyers because they told her she should take a plea deal. She insisted on testifying in her own defense, which was the best thing that could have happened for the prosecution. She stood on that stand and told the jury that she was protecting the family bloodline from a genetically inferior interloper. She actually used those words. She thought her entitlement would sound like noble intent to a jury. It didn't. It sounded like the ramblings of a dangerous sociopath. The jury took less than 2 hours to find her guilty on all counts. The judge, a no-nonsense woman who looked like she wanted to climb over the bench and shake my sister, sentenced her to the maximum, 25 years in a maximum security state prison, no parole for the first 15. The fallout was massive. My brother-in-law, Jamie, moved across the country as soon as he was cleared for travel. He sent me a long letter apologizing for not seeing the signs sooner. He said he'd been living in a fog of her manipulation for a decade and was just relieved to be alive. We don't talk much, but there's a mutual respect there. We both survived her. My parents are broken, but in a way that has finally allowed them to see the truth. They sold their house and moved into a smaller condo closer to us. My mom spends every day helping with the baby. She told me recently, "I spent 30 years making excuses for her because I thought I could love the evil out of her. I almost let her kill my granddaughter because I was too scared to be mean to my daughter." Our daughter, by the way, is the light of our lives. She's healthy, happy, and has no idea how much drama preceded her arrival. My wife is a rock. She went through the trial, the police interviews, and the trauma of almost being murdered, all while carrying a child, and she never faltered. Our marriage is stronger than ever, mostly because we've realized that we are our own family unit, and no one, not even blood, gets to threaten that. My sister still tries to reach out from prison. She sends collect calls that I block. She sends letters that I don't even open anymore. The last one I saw through the envelope window was a 10-page manifesto about how the prison food is beneath her dignity, and how I need to hire a private investigator to find the real killer. She's still living in her own movie, but the audience has finally left the theater. Looking back, the humiliation she planned for my wife was supposed to be this public display of my wife failing as a mother or being weak by getting sick. Instead, my sister humiliated herself so thoroughly that she's now just a cautionary tale in our family history. She tried to take our future, but all she did was forfeit her own. Justice didn't just happen, it was served on a silver platter. and for once, my sister had to swallow the consequences. We've moved on, we've found peace, and we've learned that the best revenge is simply living a life that she can no longer touch. I guess the moral of the story is that some people aren't just difficult, they're dangerous. And when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time, not the 10th time. It might just save your life. If you think my sister deserves every bit of that prison food and then some, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next time a perfect plan goes up in flames. Want me to share the story of how my IML tried to top this at the christening?